Okay, so let's start. Welcome to our last talk in this talk series today. Today I'm together with Adil. Welcome, Adil.
Hi, Till.
And today we will talk again about Atlassian Cloud, but about knowledge management and a knowledge base and process digitalization in the service management sector. And we will explain you what Confluence will be and how you can use it in your company. Let's have a short look into the agenda. First, we will start with an introduction. Then we will see how Confluence works. And then we will have two demonstrations, one about service management with knowledge base and one with e-schooling, e-schooling in Confluence. So Adil, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you. So as you just said, my name is Adil. I work at Seibert Media, an Atlassian Platinum Solution Partner from Wiesbaden. I've been with Seibert Media for 8 years in different positions. Right now, I work as partner manager, meaning I get to deal with all the other Atlassian partners, such as yourselves. And as I said, I've been doing multiple jobs here at Seibert Media, which is why I consider myself a consultant for communication, collaboration, knowledge management, and social intranets. And that means that I love to work with Confluence. And I guess this is why I'm here today. So.
That's true. Thank you. So, some words about me. I'm Till. I'm working at venITure as an IT consultant and for 2 years now. And at venITure, I built business processes from our customers into the Atlassian platform, into Jira and into Confluence as well. And last year I had a big key project about bringing a full event management into Jira together with our customer ESL. And yeah, we are happy to be here today. So some short words about our companies we are working at. Seibert Media.
Sure. Seibert Media was founded in 1996. We used to do a lot of web design. Like at the beginning of the second millennium, we have been established a partnership with Atlassian. Since then, we do all services and licensing around Atlassian tools. We are located in Wiesbaden. So I'm not in San Francisco as you, Till, but at least I have art in my background too. And yeah, and together with more than 180 employees, we do everything related to Atlassian, Google, meaning G Suite. And we've also have launched several apps on the Atlassian marketplace, which we are going to talk about later.
Yes, I'm working at venITure, and we were founded 4 years ago in 2016. And we have locations in Germany, Croatia, and Turkey, and with our headquarters here in Cologne as well today. And right now, since 4 years, we have more than 100 employees in the whole company group. So in Germany, Croatia, and Turkey. And we have several apps as well in our marketplace as a vendor. And in addition to the Atlassian partnership we have, and as a solution partner, we have as well software development and quality assurance for our customers as well. If you want to know more about Atlassian and about Jira and about all the different software Atlassian provides, just have a look on YouTube to our talk 1 and 3. We 1, 2, and 3 we hosted this week and last week. Feel free to watch it after this session, and you can find the link into the chat later. Any questions so far at the moment? Feel free to write them into the Q&A section of this Zoom webinar or into the chat. We will answer them at the end of every agenda point. No? So let's have a look how Confluence work. Adil, it's your turn.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, let's talk about Confluence. And I promised you to talk about the basics, so I will start by explaining what Confluence is. So Confluence is a wiki software developed by Atlassian. Atlassian is the software developer from Australia, which is also famous for the other tools they have built, like Jira, Bitbucket, or Trello, which they own. And Confluence is the solution when it comes to documenting all the knowledge that is gathered within the processes you're dealing when you are using Jira or the other Atlassian tools. So as I said, Confluence is an enterprise wiki software. And when we talk about wikis, every one of us thinks about the Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the biggest online encyclopedia that there is. And we all know how it works, meaning every person from around the world can just go into the internet, log into Wikipedia, and just create and edit content. And this is how the biggest encyclopedia has been built. And Confluence follows the same idea with special regards to enterprises, meaning it has the same idea that people, when it comes to enterprises, colleagues contribute together to create knowledge that can be accessed by everyone. But as it's for enterprises, they do consider permissions and other tools as state-of-the-art technologies to make work more fun. So Confluence is a central tool that can be accessed through your browser, and it allows you to create content, edit it, share information, and basically everything you have. Like Atlassian themselves say, every opportunity starts with an idea, and an idea is always in the wiki, meaning your thought process is externalized into a wiki page, which then can be accessed. And this is how you can build large knowledge bases, which we are going to talk to in more detail. It allows you to work together with your colleagues in real time, meaning, for example, Till and I can work on the same document and we can see our changes live. And as it is extensible, you can have so much use cases to build an intranet on top of it, or even to collaborate with external parties using it as an extranet. Let's take a look at the next slide. Here is a basic concept of how Confluence is structured in its information architecture. At the top, we can see the dashboard. So let's use the metaphor of your laptop. As soon as you, or your notebook, as soon as you open it up and you log in, you will be on your desktop. Analogously, on Confluence, this will be your dashboard. We will take a look in a second at how the dashboard looks like. And after that, you can create spaces. If we use the metaphor with the computers again, then it would be like folders. And within those spaces, which you can have thousands, there are no limitations. Every document is organized within that. So a space can have pages, blog posts, and within those pages and blog posts, you can upload attachments, you can attach comments, and everything is based within spaces. So for every space, a space can be a team space, a project space, corporate news space. It's completely up to you. And within there, you can have, for example, pages that lay out all team members, or all the project status, the budget, or whatever. So, and within those spaces, you can apply different permission schemes, which we're going to talk about soon in more detail. Let's take a look at how a dashboard works or looks like. So when you open up your Confluence site, this is the dashboard you get to see. It is a personalized dashboard, meaning you only get to see the information that is most relevant for you. First, you can see the spaces you have been working in, your spaces which have been favorized. And below that, there are pages you recently visited in order to give you like a quick start. On the right side, there is the feed, which is an activity stream, where you can follow the latest changes done by your coworkers, basically. And this always ensures that you can always start the work you've ended on the day before, for example. If you click on a page, we can see how it looks like on the next slide. So this is basically a Confluence page. So most of organizations still use Microsoft Word, and just to use a metaphor again, this is like an alternative to the Microsoft Word document. This is a Confluence page, which of course has a page title and then can be filled with text, images, tables, and everything else you would like. This page here is, as I explained before, part within a space. So on the left above, you can see that this space is called eSchooling 8A, which is a class. We are going to talk about it when Till will be showing the use case for eSchooling. And below that, you can see the page tree. This page, Basics of Algebra, is a child page from the maths page, meaning all pages can be structured within. And this is a great advantage when it comes to documents or when it comes to knowledge management, because alternatively to Microsoft Word, these documents are all connected with each other. You can link them, you can structure them, you can apply permissions to them, which is really, really great to give users a context of the information they are reviewing right now. We will see the page in a live demo later on when Till shows the eSchooling part. Let's take a look at the next slide. So Confluence can be used for multiple use cases, and the idea behind it is that you transform your tacit knowledge into explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge, in Germany would say implizites Wissen, is knowledge that everyone has internalized, but basically everyone knows how a process works, but it's not written down anywhere. And that's a problem we are facing today as more and more people join organizations and leave. They are not there for like 20, 30 years, meaning that knowledge that is created or knowledge that is gathered isn't externalized. And whenever someone leaves an organization, the company has to start from scratch again. And the idea of Confluence is to transform that knowledge into wiki pages so everyone can review them. And the four main use cases are knowledge exchange, organization, communication and support, and documentation. And we are going to take a look at all of those four use cases right now. So knowledge exchange. As I've described before, knowledge can be created basically by everyone, meaning I can document meetings, I can document the process, or everything I would like to share with my colleagues. Because a wiki page is easily created, you can always just use a template, and then everything you want to share can be structured in a specific way so it's easy reviewed by your peers. One of the main advantages of a wiki software of Confluence is that you do not send documents through email or in any other way, but a document has a specific place within the wiki, and whoever wants to share, have that information or wants to contribute to that information goes to the specific page. And this means that there is only one version of a document. Of course, there is a version history where you can trace which changes have been made in the past. But the most powerful advantage of Confluence is that there is no interaction between persons sending documents forth and back. So, and this ensures that knowledge is not lost in some inboxes, but everything is publicly available, except when you choose to apply permissions to them. And this ensures that you can work faster and more efficiently because you do not wait for your colleagues to send you the most current version of a document. Let's take a look at the next one. Collaborative work. As I said before, you can edit a page in real time with multiple colleagues. You know that from, for example, from the G Suite or like Google Docs, where you can make changes all with your colleagues all at once. cool thing is someone can work at a table, someone can lay out the background for this page. And since it's a web application, all changes are saved automatically. So you don't need to worry that you forget to save the latest document. If your computer crashes, you don't need to worry because everything is saved. And since there is a mobile app for that too, you can always access them. And the latest version of your page is always available in Confluence too. So next one, please. Communication support. As I said, it is not necessary anymore to send emails with documents back and forth anymore. But obviously, you need to communicate around documents. So this is why it's always possible to attach a comment to a page where you can ask for more details, or you can also use inline comments, meaning you can mark a text snippet and ask a specific question, which can be resolved by other users. And you can always see which questions have been asked, which answers have been given. So not only you gain that new information, but everyone benefits from questions that have been asked publicly. And this ensures a cooperation of a whole unit level because everyone can basically see what the other one does. And this is really powerful when it comes to transparency. Next slide, please. So then we have analytics. So the questions we are always facing, especially from our customers, is why should I create content for everyone? This document is only relevant for me. I'm sure that no one is interested in that. And it's always interesting when we show them the analytics part of that, because you can always trace how many people have seen that page. So a lot of people think that the work they are doing is not relevant for everyone, but as soon as you publish them, a lot of people show interest in them and they contribute. And this is what Confluence also supports. It gives you insights of the user adoption, meaning which documents are frequented the most. And that gives you insight into which other content you should create. So if you see meeting documents are frequented a lot, you know that there is a special interest from your colleagues in having those meeting notes publicly. If you just create other documents regarding a project and no one looks at it, you know that there is no interest and you can adapt to that. Okay, next slide, please. Then the permission management. This is crucial when it comes to the introduction of Confluence, because a lot of people fear that everything is publicly available. Obviously, only your organization, your coworkers can access the content in your Confluence site. And within them, you can apply permissions, meaning within those spaces or pages, you can specify who can access them or who can edit them. So on Wikipedia, everything is publicly available, but you do not want that within your company because let's take an example, HR documents. I'm not sure how Till would react if I could see his work performance from last year because it's just available at the Confluence, at a Confluence space for HR. Obviously, only people that work in HR should access that space. And this is what Confluence allows you, which is why it distinguishes itself from other wiki solutions. It's an enterprise wiki, which considers those specific requirements. And you can not only restrict the space with all its content, you can restrict or apply permissions to pages individually. So if you have a budget planning document, not everyone from your team should access, you can apply specific permissions to that and define that only you and someone else from your team can access that, but only you can edit it. So it's very, very easy to apply those permissions. And it's very easy to give granular permissions, meaning you can specify who can upload an image, who can leave a comment, who can edit the page. This is very powerful on Atlassian Confluence. Next slide, please. quick summary of what other additional features there are. I've mentioned templates. Atlassian Confluence comes with, I believe, hundreds of different templates for all multiple use cases. If it's a brainstorming meeting, if it's a description for a new job, they've worked with other pioneers of other industries to provide those templates, which give you like a jump start. You don't need to worry about formatting a page, but you can only add the information you have and make it very easy for other people to grasp that information. Based on those templates, you can always generate dynamic overview pages. So you can just go on one page that lists basically all your meeting notes. Then we have page and file version management. That's another fear a lot of people have, meaning why should everyone edit my page? What happens when someone, or let's say I'm creating a page and Till edits it and I'm not happy with the changes he's made. This is no problem because every change, every edit you make in Confluence is saved in a different version. You can always compare versions and you can always redact a version and basically recreate a former version. This means you don't need to fear that someone writes in something wrong. If that happens, you can just restore a former version and everything is live again. Permissions, I've already mentioned that, but apps is something that gives Confluence a head start in comparison to other Atlassian, wiki solutions. There is an Atlassian marketplace that allows you to extend Confluence functionality. Meaning you can create pages, you can attach comments, everything you like. If you want to create diagrams, this is not something that Confluence supports natively, but there is a marketplace. You have to just imagine the marketplace or the app store on your iPhone, meaning if you need an app, there is a marketplace where you can download those apps to extend Confluence core functionality. And there are apps that do a lot of different stuff. Some apps help you format content, other apps connect information with other tools. One of the apps we have built is Linchpin. We extend the Confluence feature set with intranet functionalities, which you can see in the next slide. So this is basically our intranet solution, Linchpin, which gives you company-wide news and integrates Jira and Confluence issues. For example, I can see the recent updates my colleague Sarah has made, or I can see the issues I'm watching in Jira. So I can create a central hub, a cockpit, to access all information I have stored in my Atlassian tools. Yeah. I hope that was a brief and short overview of Confluence. Till will be, at the end of the presentation, will show you the use case we've prepared for e-schooling, where you will have a live demonstration of how Confluence works. If there are any questions, as Till said, we are happy to answer them through chat.
Yeah, thank you, Adil.
Sure.
If there are any questions, feel free to write them. We will wait a minute so you can enter them. Otherwise, we will go forward to the next topic. Okay, I guess there are no open questions. So let's move forward to the next topic, the service management. The service management we want to present you now is a solution which is based on Jira and on Confluence, which I explained a few minutes ago. In our last talk, we talked in a deep dive about how Jira works. So if there are any questions when I demonstrate it later on, feel free to write it into the chat so we can answer them. So let's start. When we have a look at the service management, we first have the knowledge base in our Confluence. Adil explained it in his section. And with this knowledge base, we have a navigation. So which in our dashboard, we have something, we can write something like a welcome message about all the or the information you can find in this specific knowledge base. You can search through this, and with the little search bar, so you can find your topics you need in an easy way. And you can keep the informations together with labels. This is something Adil mentioned regarding the templates. So, for example, if you have specific templates for specific knowledge topics, you can label them, and then you have the standardized labeling of the pages, and you can find them in an easy way. With having the knowledge base for your service management in your company, you create your single point of information, because when otherwise you have a look into different tools, you want to help yourself. For example, when you have some problems with your laptop and you don't know where to find it, maybe you have it somewhere in your inbox, you have it somewhere in some other internet solutions, and now you have it centralized in your Confluence. And this has another advantage as well, which we will see later on, because when you create a ticket in your service management in Jira Service Desk, the ticket software directly shows up the possible knowledge base articles, which will help you in your situation. So your user, your customer, can help by not creating any tickets and help themselves. Yes. The how-to articles, for example, we can have there the collaboration as well. We can write specific feedback on this article. We can provide comments as well. And as I said before, we have the possibility with all those articles which we list on a specific page for a specific labeling that the user can easily help on their own. Now we have a first look into the customer portal from Jira Service Desk. And here we just started to create the ticket for our agents when we have a problem, for example, with creating our account in some tool, for example. Then we just start typing create an account, for example, and we get the suggested articles. So you can click on these articles and see the help, so you don't, so you prevent your customer from creating any ticket, which will help again for your agents to have not that much work, and you can have a better scaling there. In your service desk as well, you have the possibility to see queues of your tickets. So if there is a problem at the customer side which was not solvable with all the knowledge base articles you provide, and the customer created the ticket, your agents can have an easy view of all the tickets in the service desk queues. You can create them in different ways. This is totally based on your own filters, so you can customize those queues as you like. And this helps you to control your tickets and to assign the tickets directly to the team which is responsible for that topic. But this is just a rough overview. Let's have a look into that in the demonstration. So, as you can see now, we enter the link and we come to the Service Desk portal. This is for the Service Desk management, now here in Jira Cloud. And we have now just a question for general support, but there are some other topics we can write a ticket about, for example, about an account, about an application, about training, for example, if you need some additional training on several tools. Now we go to the general support, and then we have other request types. We can create, for example, ask the question, upgrade. We can customize that whatever you like. We will use now ask a question for this demonstration. And now I will raise the request. That's my name here, and then I can show you what is the possibility for getting the knowledge base articles. When I write here the thing I've shown you before, for example, create, I will get directly all the suggested articles up to 3 at one page here. I can click on them and I get directly to another page where I get all the instructions, the related articles, and I can say, well, this was helpful or was not helpful. And if not, I can directly go back to the service desk and create a ticket if it doesn't help. So there's a possibility to write the description in here. I have a problem, for example. It's just this. And these fields you see here, you can fully customize. So you can have a look if you really need a summary or if you need some other information. And you can have a description, or you can have some other selected fields, for example. You can select the software where you have problems in, you can select hardware where you have problems with, and so on. And you can upload attachments as well. Now I have entered all the information, and let's send this one. And now your customers see all the details he has entered. He sees his description, all the information, and the status the ticket has, the request type that he has a problem, and he selected ask a question, and he can share it with other people in the organization. For example, I can share this one with my colleague because he has the same problem, so I enter Ahmed here and add him to this as well. And now he has access to this ticket too. If I have other questions, for example, or I forgot to add some information, I can just write some additional information into this comment box and save this. And now we see that when we have a look into this specific ticket, that the agent which is working on this one sees this ticket in his queue. So now we will look into the queues. They are automatically updated, and now we see here this is a ticket SMG2, reported as till, created 25th, and you can change the rows you need, the columns, sorry, you need here as well. So let's click on one of these tickets. We see here that he entered the description. We have an automatic response from the service desk team. So if we have a look into the request portal, for example, we see here now that the service desk team sends an automatic email, an automatic comment that the request was, that they saw the request and that they help as soon as possible. This is something we can fully customize on your needs. And the additional information we entered in our service desk, in our service portal, we see them here as well as an agent. We have additional information we can provide. For example, we can move the ticket through the workflow. We have now a very basic workflow in here, which is just a classification, an approval step. If you needed a support, waiting for the support, waiting for the customer, being in progress or being on hold, and then you can close this ticket as well. So now let's move to, for example, waiting for support. If we now look back into the customer portal and refresh this page, we see that the request is landed. So there is a possibility to translate the status to your customers. So maybe he doesn't have to see all the detailed statuses you have, and that's why you can translate them for the customer, which status he sees. As an agent, there's another interesting topic here in the service management, and this is, you can write internal notes, for example, which are saved just with another color, and the note that this is internal. And you can add an external message because you have to say something to the customer, and this will be added as a normal comment. And if we now refresh this as well, we see that we just have the external comment in here. So now, this is just a quick overview about how the service management in Jira will look like. And we saw now in the customer portal how the knowledge base will appear in the customer portal. And now let's have a look how this behaves in Confluence. In Confluence, we are now in the space. That is what Adil explained. We are in Confluence, and now we are in one space, and we have here the landing page for this specific page. We have different subpages in here, for example, questions and notes, where we have several information stored, for example. We have how-to articles, like create an account, what we saw previously. And we see here the related articles as well. And now we can, for example, click on the edit button and start to adjust all this because we saw, for example, that this was not helpful because we had the specific voting in the customer portal. And now, let's just add in another step here, for example, open Confluence first, because they didn't know that they have to open Confluence before starting the configuration, for example. This is just configuration. Now you see that I'm working in here. At the moment, the only member, and but when I need help, for example, from Adil, I can share this and invite him to this as well, so we can write into this article together. So we have the best collaboration to get this article done. Then we can publish this article as well. And now we see the version history. So with these 3 dots here, we have several other information. For example, the attachment for the pages, the page history, the restrictions the page has, and some additional page information, the results, comments, and so on. So let's have a look, for example, in the attachments which are connected to this one. Yeah, you can see who uploads that. You can add some properties. You can view this as well in a direct preview in this Confluence page, and you can upload add a comment to each version as well. So this is version 1. If we upload another version to this, we see who uploads it as well, when it was created, and the comment for version 2, because it could be different as well. This is something, for example, if you need an ISO certification, sometimes you need some version something like this as well. So Confluence provides this at its best. Yes, you can start this as well, so you have an easy access to the page as an agent, and you can share it to another one, for example, to another mail. If I share it to my mail, for example, I just get the notification that I should have a look on this page. Now let's have a look at the restrictions and how you can add them. For example, You can choose if anyone can view and edit, if editing is restricted, or that the viewing is restricted too. So let's say, for example, Ahmed is not allowed to edit this one. No, sorry. Now I have to choose just can view. And now he has not the possibility to edit this one. The button is not there. We have other articles here as well. So for example, the training courses where we see if we are on track or off track with the overall status in the company, which goals we have, with sales goals, for example, for the trainings and so on. So that's how pages can look like here in Confluence. Let's start to create a subpage so you see how this will look like. We have now the space here, and we can have here several templates which we can use. Let's use for that the blog post article, for example. If you have some news to share or some other, then you can write something as we saw before and publish this as well. Okay, that was a short overview how our customer portal looks like, how we can customize it, how processing of tickets works, how the connection to our knowledge base looks like, and how you can work in Confluence. Any additional questions on this topic? No? Okay, so let's move on to a topic which come to life with COVID-19. We thought, well, if all the people are working at home and all the students have to be at home as well, but how can they collaborate? How can they work together? That's why we thought, well, let's just use Confluence for that, because you have all the stuff you need. You can work collaborative in it. You can extend it with some apps if you need additional functionalities. And you can upload attachments. For example, if someone has, if a group of students have to create a presentation, they can do the pre-work in Confluence and they can upload the presentation as well if they have to provide it to the teacher. So again, we can have a look into our dashboard, especially for every class. So a welcome message from the teacher to every class, and we can upload class news as well. So everyone is up to date. If someone has, for example, brings some cake because he has a birthday or something like that, you can just write it into the news and everyone is directly updated about that. Yeah, and with this class news, this is something which is in comparison to the company news as well. So all these news features are the same. You can use this for the classes to say what you want to tell to them, or you can use it for the customer as well. For the company, sorry, so you can provide all the news from your company. Just another use case for that. In the school, you often need the same structure because you have several classes in the same level, for example, 8A, 8B, 8C, and 8D. And now all these people have the same lessons. They have the same topics, And that's where it comes, one of the plugins we have in the marketplace comes to life. For example, we have one template for the 8th class level. And if you have a new class in the beginning of each year, well, just use this template and copy it. And then you have directly a new page where the teacher from this class can start to edit the content, edit all the things they wanna use in this school year. And that is an easy way how you can start in every year with your new class. And when you think back to your school times, for example, you always have big books, you always have papers which the teacher prints and give it to the students. And with using Confluence, we prevent them from using papers. We can have everything in Confluence. We can share, for example, the homework as a single page to them, and we can have in a very detailed way this homework as well in our template for this class and provide it every year again if the content doesn't change. Let's have a look how you can structure one of those classes. For example, you have math, you have physics, and you have history. Then you can have one page for each class in the space of the specific class. Underneath each lesson, you can have the topics which are interesting for them. And if you go one step deeper, for example, you can create for the basics of algebra one page for every student. And you can restrict those pages just for the teacher and just for the student. Then everyone can work on its own on the task you gave them. And after that, you can send them a message or share this content with your teacher and say, well, it's done, please review this. And then you have this everything in Confluence, and you can have and you get your feedback, for example, in the inline comments from your teacher. Now, another topic about the restriction. We saw this earlier, just another detailed view on that. I think we said in the last demonstration everything about that. And then the physics. Another one very interesting thing, because you can, on this page for physics, for example, you can create a new landing page for them. You can have a short video, for example. You can implement a macro for showing YouTube videos or other videos from other institutions, for example, to bring the topic to the students. And you can write here in highlights, for example, which topics we use, or on which topics we focus on in this lesson or in the next year, in the next school year, and on which topics we don't focus that much. This is something just like to in the first lesson that you can give an overview as well on this physics dashboard here. One thing which is really, really interesting is using, for example, apps for quizzes. When you want to know or when you want to see how good your students are, you can create questions and you can have a multiple choice answers for them as well. And you can say which answer is correct, and then you can provide these quizzes to your students. They can go through that and you can see, well, on which level each student is. And they can have this, for example, just as an yeah, so they can do the quizzes as well to see how good they are. So these doesn't have to be quizzes which the teacher has to distribute to the students. This could be just some quizzes you provide over the whole school year, and then they can choose if they want to do the quiz or not, so they can see how good they are on their own. So let's go into the real life demonstration, how all these features can look like in Confluence. So now here we are in our e-schooling for the class 8A, and we see now here our dashboard with which we have, for example, with the teachers Dennis and Till, and all the class news here that we won the school marathon, for example. On the left side again, we see all the pages, and we can see now how one of those pages can look like. Normally you have, for example, a book, and now all the stuff is written on a Confluence page, and you can work through that as well with all the possibilities you have. Let's show you how an inline comment may work. So if you just highlight one of these words, you can comment here and say, I don't understand that. If you have some questions and you want to ask a specific person, for example, Dennis, then you can tag him in this thing. He gets a message, and he can answer that this topic is really easy, for example, and helps the solution, write the solution in here, and every student is able to see it. Every student this answer helps every student, and not just the person who asked that. It's like when you ask something in the class to the teacher, everyone can get the knowledge from the teacher, and here this is something like that as well. And if this helps you, yeah, let's just press resolve, and this comment is gone from the viewable page. But if you need it again, you can click on the three dots, for example, and have a look into the resolved comments. And then you see all the comments and all the questions with all the answers that provides the help. Now here we have different pages. For example, order of operations. There's a specific homework which you have, with several tasks. And now you can say, I want to distribute this to your class. So you can enter your LDAP group, for example, in here and share it with a message. Or if you restricted this page previously, you can just remove the restriction, and then everyone is able to see their homework. One interesting thing now, which I showed you before in the gravitation, is the quiz. This is the app. We entered all the questions here, and can edit all the questions as well with all the specific ones. And the questions, so one question is one Confluence page. The header of the Confluence page is the questions, and then you can just provide the answers in here. And you can mark which one is the correct solution. So, for example, this is level 1 quiz for gravitation, so that students can check if they understand it. You can set some specific settings, so if the correct answer should be shown afterwards or not. After each question, you can randomize it, you can skip, you can allow the persons to skip several questions if they don't have the answer, and so on. And you can see the results, so who has started it, who has completed it. If someone has failed it, you see this as well. And if you want to start, if you want to unroll this to the participants, you can click on this one and type in the participants so they get a message that they can use this quiz. Yeah, each of this page underneath is one of the questions you have in this quiz. This is an overview of how e-schooling could look like in Confluence. I think it's now in these difficult times, it's a good solution how you can participate and how you can interact with all the students you have. And feel free to ask questions on this topic if you like. Otherwise, we are good in time. Just it's 12 now. After 1 hour, we end our webinar today, our talk, and the whole talk series as well. Thank you, Adil, for being part, for explaining Confluence so well to all our participants today.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And if you have other questions, if you have some more detailed questions which you don't want to write into the chat, I will provide you our service desk portal now into the chat, the link, so you can just write your question to us, and we can have a call to answer them as well. Yes, there's one question. So Ahmed, you can there. May I create a note? You mean inline comment, or what do you mean? As a student in the page. Yes, this is possible. You can create pages as well. You can create under quizzes.
Now, what I would recommend in this case is every user, for example, you, Ahmed, as a student, you can have a personal space. And this personal space is basically your collection of notes. So for every quiz, what you can do is just create a corresponding page, and then you can take your notes within there. You can also apply permissions to your personal space that only you can see your own notes, or you can collaborate with, for example, other groups of students if you prepare, or if you have like a group session to study for a quiz. You can also share those notes or pages with them too. So a note is basically just another Confluence page which you can store anywhere. But since, because of the nature of that information, a personal note, we would recommend you to use a personal space and create a page within there.
Okay, thank you, Adil.
Sure. You're welcome.
So I will stay another 3 minutes. If you have any other questions, write it into the chat. Otherwise, feel free to leave. Thank you for being part of the series, watching the series. And again, if you want to see talk 1, 2, and 3, you find the link in the chat and on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you as well from my side.